What's up, fam? It's your girl Sarah. Just wanted to do a really quick video on my experience using my new iPad Pro and GarageBand. This past week I had to travel, and I was just traveling for about 2 or 3 days, and I didn't want to haul around my computer or my beat machine. I just recently bought an iPad Pro for graphic design and just my artwork for my music, but I decided to just go ahead and just use my iPad and challenge myself to use the apps that come with the iPad, and then maybe some third-party apps that you can download as well, so I can just have that ability to be portable. And I actually really love GarageBand, and I found out they had some really good updates recently, and I want to share with you how I made this beat in like 5 or 10 minutes on the airplane. So let's get into it. Let's go. First off, I'm using GarageBand. I'm using most of their stock sounds. I am using one Moog app that Moog hooked me up with, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But let's first talk about what I have here. So I have 5 sections of the song, and I'm just going to first break down the first section. And if you want to hear the entire song, just go to the very end of this video, and the song will be posted at the bottom of this description of the video. So let's get into it. So we're going to go ahead and go to the very first section. And I'm going to share with you guys just the very first instruments that I pick. Basically, the very first instruments that I picked out was some chill pads. Really cool thing about GarageBand, you can come up here to the toolbar, you can pick what key structure or signature key that you want to use. So I picked G major, and over here I decided to choose their scales that they have here. So immediately I just played around. I have these pads. Make sure you can hear it. So yeah, those are pretty much the keys that I started off with, and I also can go back to the toolbar and basically pick a tempo. So my tempo is 103. You can hit tap to tempo. So I made the tempo, and then the beat starts off like this. So pretty simple, and because the pads are really light and low, I actually kind of just doubled them, so that's why I have 2 sections of the same pad. So it's I just kind of duplicated the pads and just wanted to kind of thicken them out. So I made it to just double them. So next off, down here I have some, some drums. So of course after the pads is adding some drums. So very, very simple. So I'm gonna play it with the song so you know what it sounds like. So on the iPad, when you're on the airplane, it's a lot easier than just having it up like this, but you know, just and I really like how it's kind of a little off and not quantized, so altogether it sounds. And then next I added some more drums, a snare, or a clap actually. And on this clap, really cool, you can actually add reverb to it. So on the side here I added some reverb. And then I actually went through some more pad sounds. I actually found this bass, and what I actually decided to use an arpeggiator. And what an arpeggiator is, when it's a note repeater. So for an example, so it repeats the note, so I decided to use the same notes that I used as the pads before, and it sounds like this. So together, all together, it sounds like this. Alright, so like I said, I just use an arpeggiator. So that was pretty dope to add that to the pads. And then just to kind of add some flair to kind of transition the first section to the second section, at the very end of these bars, I added some more pads. So they sound like this. You can kind of hear it by itself. So it kind of gives it a build up to the next section, which is kind of makes it exciting. And let's talk about the next section, section number A or B, number 2. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get over here. So all together, section A sounds like this. So let's put it all together before we head to the second session. So that's the very first section, and then now we're going to go to the next one, section B. Section B has the exact same pads, the exact same hi-hat, the exact same second pad of arpeggiated pads, but I also added a lot of drums and a bass line. So the cool thing about GarageBand, I really like that you have something that's called drummer, and basically you can actually pick a drummer with a personality or a character. So I'll show you. I have this wonderful lady named Leah. She's got this drum pattern called Supernova, and it sounds like this. So you can change kind of her drum pattern. So that's what I picked for that particular drum pattern for section B. And then I also added, oh yeah, another really cool way of making drums on GarageBand is they have a sequencer. So I made this drum pattern. So as you can see, I have kicks, snare, clap options. So to kind of just hear what it sounds like. And I can add, you know, so I recorded that into GarageBand as an added on drums. So it sounds together like this. I'm gonna add the pads together. Alright, so I also added a bass line. So I really like that in GarageBand you can actually add third-party apps to that GarageBand app. And I've recently got Moog to send me their app called Model 15. It's amazing. It really sounds like their hardware, so it's really awesome to have a software-based Moog's app. So basically here I have their bass. Ooh. Sound crazy. So yeah. It sound crazy. So yeah, I have this app. So I have yeah, so I'm gonna put it together so you can hear it. So all together. So I also added an extra set of drums at the very end of the this session or section. I picked a new drummer. His name is Finn, and he's doing a new pattern, so it sounds like this. You can barely hear it, but it adds an extra flavor to the drum pattern in the section. So all together, it sounds like this. Oops. Let's. Alright, so that was section B. And my very favorite section is section C, because what I do is I take all of those elements that we put together, the bass, the pads, all of those drums, and I take some out. And when you take those things out, it kind of just, to the ears, just sounds so good when it changes and switches up. So I'm going to share with you the transition, and then you can see why I really like this section. So I'm going to play section B and then transition to section C. So let's get to it. And what I did, I pretty much kept everything except for the bass, and then I also took out those the arpeggiated pads, but I kept the drums, kept all the drums, took the bass and the other pads out. So like I said, it just sounds really nice when you take certain things out. It just and that pretty much is section C, and then the next section is section D, which pretty much is section B, but there's I took some drums out, so it's alright. The very last section is so sexy to me because I changed the drum patterns up completely to where it kind of even feels like a different tempo. So for an example, I keep the pads. Actually, let's get just the section E, the fifth section. I just keep the pads. I keep my my hi-hat, so I'll show you guys. I'm just going to mute out everything. So I just have my pads first, you know. So I changed up Finn's drum pattern. I added some more bells to it, so it kind of just gives you that I don't know. Kind of gives you that swing. So I kind of switched Finn's drum pattern up to add extra bells to it. And the very, very most important and fun part about this beat in the very end is how I changed up the entire drum pattern. So I created a whole new sequencer. And if you notice, the first sequencer, the drum patterns were different, like in a different place, the kick. So it sounds like this. So altogether, it sounds like. Woo! That's sweet. So basically, altogether, everything sounds amazing because, like I said, I had a whole bunch of drums, and in the very end, I changed the entire drum pattern. So I'll kind of share with you what the transition sounds like, and then that'll pretty much be the whole song. So I'm gonna go to kind of to the end of section 4 or section D, and. That's so hot. So basically, the very, very last and one of the coolest things about GarageBand that I learned is that you can add some effects. And there's a button here called FX. At the very end of the track, you can add some effects. So for an example, while I'm playing the beat down here, there's some filters, there's some repeaters, there's some stops, there's some wobbles, some orbit, some delay, some reverb, which means you can kind of just do this. I'd rather just show you than tell you, so let's try it out. So. And that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm going to play the whole song right now, but I just wanted to at least share with you how I made this beat really quickly in GarageBand. You know, it's really awesome that you can just carry this little thing and then kind of make already a radio go, SoundCloud ready beat that you can add to a video, to a commercial, to anything. It's pretty dope. So I just wanted to share with you guys, if you don't have a lot of music equipment or a lot of hardware, that you don't have to buy a lot of that to make a cool beat. You know, you can just have an iPad, and GarageBand already comes with the iPad. So there's no excuses to not making music. There's no excuses to not have time to make music, because I'm always busy, but I always find time to make music. And I want you guys to know that you don't have to have a lot of money to make music. You can just have something like your phone or your iPad, and it'll get you started. Holla at me if you have any questions. It was really awesome just sharing with you guys what this was about. It was really nice to travel, and I will continue to explore what my iPad Pro can do for me and my music. I'm excited. I hope you guys subscribe, like the video, look at my other videos, and have a blessed week. Peace.